Okay, everybody, welcome back to another Dead by Daylight video. So, today, for hitting 1,000 subs, which I'm still extremely grateful for and love every single one of you. We actually hit it a few days ago, but I already had some videos pre-recorded, so we're doing this one today. I thought it would be nice to do a little AMA. It's not too big from what I've seen. For those on stream, I already kind of did this, but I wanted to redo it because I didn't like doing it live. I felt my answers were a little stilted because of it. But yeah, so we're just going to do this real quick. So from Salva, we have biggest changes you'd make to DBD if you could. That's a tough one. I think the biggest change I would make, giving survivors another objective, and I think that's really about it. And maybe making generators a little bit more difficult to do. One or the other. I have no problem with gen rushing. I think gen rushing is fine. I think because survivors, the only thing survivors have to do, why wouldn't they, right? I think the biggest issue with them, though, is just how easy they are to do. Because the killer is over there stressing out, trying to like do the perfect mind game and whatever to down someone as fast as they can and use their power properly and whatnot. But meanwhile, the rest of your team is sitting there on gens just clicking a button and doing skill checks that for the most part are pretty easy to do. So I would maybe find some way to make generators harder somehow. That's just a me thing though, so I'm not 100% sure on that. Otherwise, add daily, weekly, and monthly challenges. I know Tommy, who's in here as well, did a... I'm sorry, Tommy did an idea like this, and I did one a while ago about this, but I think that would actually help. Adding like incentives to play other killers that aren't played as much, use perks that aren't used as much, things like that. Not even necessarily blood points, maybe shards, something else, maybe specific cosmetics, things like that. I think there's ways you can do it. But yeah, that's pretty much what I would do. How would you rework Freddy to actually become good? Make the pallets and the snares into his base kit, and you can swap them, much like Clown Cam with yellow and purple bottles. Make it so you can teleport the generators that are already completed. I don't know why he can't do that. I think it's dumb, and I don't think it would be overpowered at all. And make that new add-on he just got where he reveals the killer instinct when someone's nearby the gen. Make that base kit as well. I'm glad it's an add-on, but I really do think it should be base kit. Xenomorph has basically the same thing when she comes out of a tunnel. I don't see why Freddy having it would be that bad. Otherwise, I think Freddy's fine. I think if there's one credit I'll give to Freddy is he's one of the least mentally intensive killers. He is just an M1 Andy for the most part, but you don't really have to think too much when you're playing him, and that can be a good thing sometimes. I think a lot of people forget that characters like Singularity can sometimes fail because people overthink when they're playing them, though it makes them more difficult than they need to be, and can make you lose more than you need to. Yeah. Thoughts on the infamous Bartholomew von Scamper's attack on Henry Huddy Ho? I hope he dies in court. There we go. Thoughts on nurse mains? Nurse mains are an interesting bunch because most of the actual ones I know that are notable are chill as fuck. Even Alf, even Vulpixia, those are the two big ones. But they're all chill, for the most part. They're playing a character they know is really strong, and they have fun with it. You know, Vulpixia does a lot of times when she'll run like perks that literally don't do anything for nurse. In general, though, as a community, though, I think nurse mains are fine. Like, I'm not going to blame them for playing a killer that's really strong at all. If they're only playing them because they're meta, or because they're really strong, more power to them. If they're playing them because they like her lore, more power to them. If they play her because they think she's fun, more power to them. It's just how video games work and mains work. That's fine. I legitimately do not have a problem with nurse mains. Or skull merchant mains. I have no problem with any mains. And yeah, I am a killer player, and I do a series where I bring on killer mains, so obviously I wouldn't. Even Pinhead mains, like, I like Pinhead, or I hate Pinhead, but I don't hate the people who play him, or the mains. The dedication in being an actual main for a character is something that should be applauded, not sacralized for whatever reason. The Dead by Daylight community does it for certain killers. But yeah. What are some of your favorite games of all time, and what games do you play when you're not playing DBD, and if you have a preferred genre as well. My preferred genre is probably first-person shooters, if I have to be 100% perfectly honest, because it's probably the most of what I play off-stream. Off-stream, I play a lot of Deep Rock Galactic, Rock and Stone and all. I play a lot of Destiny 2, and I play a lot of Doom Eternal. That's probably the 3 games I play the most off-stream. Some XCOM here and there, but for the most part, those are the games I play off-stream. Favorite games of all time? Mass Effect 2 is my favorite video game of all time. Mass Effect 2 is. I don't know if it's a very common opinion, but it's probably my most favorite game of all time. I have beaten that game over 200 times, and I'm not exaggerating. I have beaten it... I've done the math many times, but I've beaten it once as every gender, or both genders, both Renegade and Paragon, with each class Renegade and Paragon, with a save file from Mass Effect 1, Renegade and Paragon, both genders, on both. So if you do the math there, it's about 200 playthroughs. And it's insane. Mass Effect 2 was a game I played a lot in the rougher parts of my teenage years. A lot. I've beaten that game so many times, to the point to where now I don't even want to touch it. Even though it's still my favorite game of all time, I know the game so well it's not fun anymore for me. But it is probably still my favorite game of all time. If I had to pick a second, it's probably Resident Evil 4. The original or the remake, I think they're both in the same caliber. It's personal preference, in my opinion, on which one you prefer. I prefer the remake, personally, but I understand the arguments for liking the original. Most balanced killer? Plague. I think Plague is the most balanced killer in the game. She has a lot of counterplay that's very intuitive and gives you choice on what to do. And I don't think her projectile is undodgeable, but at the same time, it doesn't go into the fact... She can't really zone you with it either, which is why I think it's good. She's tall enough to be seen over a lot of loops. When she gets her power, she's a little bit slower, so it kind of works itself out. The infection is good for info, but you can also kind of trick her with it. And yeah, if I had to say one thing bad about Plague, is that she completely makes one item and a set of perks completely useless, which would be healing. But yeah, I'd say Plague is probably the most balanced killer in the game, in my opinion. I'm sure someone would argue that. So maybe a Demogorgon would get thrown in there or something like that. What are your top 3 favorite and least favorite killers to face? Okay, I'll do least favorite first because I think that's easier. Pinhead, Sadako, Wesker. Those are my top 3 least favorite killers to face. And I know Wesker is sacrilege to say is my least favorite, but I do not like going against Wesker. I don't hate it as much. Pinhead's probably the only one I actually hate playing against, but yeah, probably Wesker and Sadako in there. You'll notice a trend with 2 of those, or 3 of those. All of them have slowdown inherent in their kit. While I think it's very good for the game, it is frustrating sometimes to play against. Wesker, my problems with Wesker is just when he's one of those characters where when someone is very good at him, I am both impressed and fucking irritated. Because it's like, man, I can't do anything. Then again, I suck at Survivor, so that might be why. Top 3 favorite. Singularity. Knight. Pig. And I notice a lot of those are weak. It's not because they're weak. I like going against them because I like seeing people do the macro play. That's why. I know Pigs is a little bit harder to tell sometimes, but I like the macro play killers. I like playing against them because it feels like you're in battle with sometimes when they play that way. All of them have the problem of some people don't play that, most people don't play that way, but when you do find one who does, it's great, and I love it. But once again, I've said this before, I enjoy going against most killers, though. Even Pinhead, like, as much as I say I hate going against him, I don't mind it that much. I get mildly irritated and groan a bit, but, like, I'll fucking do it. Who cares? Personal favorite video that you've done. That honor would go to my Chucky concept video. Chucky came out in November. I did that video, and this is funny, because we've had Kaiser on for the podcast, and I've talked to many times that Kaiser, they were the reason I kind of started doing commentary videos, because they basically inspired me to start making them and stop thinking that it was a bad thing to do because, oh, so many people do it. So I had to thank them for that. But I had to thank them even more because they made a video a while ago, and they have disowned the video a bit, but talking about how Chucky doesn't work in Dead by Daylight and how it couldn't work. I give them a lot of shit for how well that has aged, but I made a video a couple weeks later because I left a comment on it, and I was like, here is my idea on how it could work. And I ran with it. I watched all the Chucky movies. I got add-on ideas. I got the basic power concept. And that video dropped, and it got a decent amount of views for a channel at the time that was very small. Much smaller than it is now. And once Chucky got revealed, the views on that video exploded. I went like, I think it tripled in like a day, which was insane. What made it even crazier, though, is I got a lot of it right. There were some things I got wrong, but the basic concept I got almost exactly right. And that is what blew my mind. I don't know if that says more about me, behavior, or Don Mancini, but I was so elated by the fact that I got almost everything correct. Once again, I had an idea for having dolls around the map that Chucky could imitate. That's probably the thing I got wrong the most. But him being 110, called it. Him being able to go to pallets, called it. Slice and Dice I didn't call, but my idea was he enters a mode where he goes undetectable, and he has no blade wipe animation, so he swings, and then he can very quickly swing again. That was his way of catching up since he's 110. Behavior kind of did the Slice and Dice with the dash, but same basic concept. I'll wait for him to catch up, even though he's so short. Even the idea of scampering. I came up with the idea of him going under pallets, but also for me, it was when he was in his mode, he could do it. Same with going under windows. In mine, he could go over windows, but slower than every other killer, but when he's in scamper, he can go over, when he's in his little mode, he can go through them faster. If you don't believe me, go watch the video back. It's insane how close I was. Even with some of the add-ons, I named a few of the add-ons. None of them would have been perfect, obviously, because my power was completely different, but still. Yeah. It's probably my favorite video. Other than that, just in general, the first podcast, Killer Interview Podcast with Gummy, because it basically skyrocketed this channel. It started something that I have enjoyed doing for so long now. And it's basically giving me my identity in this community, and I love it. And it's something I'll never forget. Even once we're through all the killers and whatnot, we'll probably still keep doing the podcast in some way, shape, or form. But Gummy saying yes to that and starting off as a dumb joke and becoming what it was, definitely has taken me somewhere where I didn't think I would be right now. But that's it for the AMA. Not many this time, but there's always next time. Once again, and I like to keep my intros or my outros short, but thank you guys so much. Currently, we are at 1,031 subs, which I know to some is a very small number, but I was never expecting to get more than 2. So you guys beat me there. I love all of you. I really do. Even I read every comment, even the ones that I kind of disagree with, but I read every single comment. And I'm not going to tear up. I am tearing up, but I'm going to try not to cry on the recording. But if you stay this long and watch all of this, you guys really do mean the world to me. And the fact that anyone gives a shit about anything I had to say on the internet is just, it's surreal. And I cannot thank you guys enough. I wish I could give more back to the community. I do. Don't forget, we do have a Discord that you can always join. The link doesn't work sometimes. If you ever want it, just send it a comment, and I'll send it through there. I do have a Twitter and a Twitch. We stream 3 days a week on Twitch. Mostly playing Chucky. Right now with the event, we're playing a lot of other killers, but yeah, I cannot say thank you guys enough. And And I'm going to stop the intro there because it's been a while, but let me be sappy for a minute, okay? I love y'all. Have a good one. And as always, bye!